Greetings, I'm Hayley.
And I'm Becca.
And we've been best friends since, well, forever.
High school feels like a distant blur, but now we have a reunion to go to.
Luckily, we have relics from the past like our daily notes, journal entries, and social media posts to help us decode our weird and cringy memories.
Let's crack open the vault and explore the insane cultural reset that was the early 2000s, aka the naughty aughts.
While we were too busy pirating music from Limewire to give a hoot what was happening outside, there was some crazy shit going down in the world.
Take a walk down memory lane with us, and welcome to the Fever Dream Diaries.
Welcome to Fever Dream Diaries, my friends. Before I go ahead and dive into my most embarrassing stories, here's a little bit about the person you're dealing with. My name is Hayley. I'm a radio personality out of Portland, Maine. Before I was starving for attention in vacation land, I was doing it in Nashua, New Hampshire. And that brings us to this tale. There comes a day in every young woman's life where she gets an invite to her high school reunion. And I did feel like I could avoid this day like the plague, but then the plague actually occurred, and now I'm here with an invitation for my 12-year high school reunion. I'm sweating already. My boyfriend cannot go, so I had to call in reinforcements. A person who I know has my back in my memory, because I'm not going to remember a single person at this thing. Becca Howard is here, my BFF. And I figured, well, my girl Becca's here, maybe we could weave a tale about our hometown first a bit, Becca, because Nashua, New Hampshire, it's not something you hear of every day.
Nashua is the Heartland of America.
What is so funny about living there, and probably for any small town or city, if you will, is nobody knows what Nashua is outside of New England. If you're trying to explain where you live to someone, you have to say it's like 40 minutes outside of Boston, or give some type of landmark, because they just don't know.
When you say Nashua, people usually think you're speaking a different language.
Yeah.
Because it is a different language.
It is, and that's a story for a different day. That's a lot to unpack, and I don't know if we're the ones to unpack.
There's a lot of Native American burial grounds under where we grew up, let's just say.
Is that true?
Yeah, Nashua was where the Native Americans lived.
Well, I knew that, but I didn't know about the burial grounds.
I mean, anywhere the Native Americans lived, they are buried, girl.
Oh,
let's talk about that.
I never really thought about that or brood upon it. Okay, so that is happening in Nashua. But in addition to that, do you have any other fun facts you could bless us with, Becca?
How did you know?
Because you always have fun facts, and that's why you're my girl.
I'm the queen of the fun facts, and I do. I brought some.
Let's hear it.
So our hometown, God bless, Nashua, New Hampshire, is the hometown to many famous people.
Really? You don't say.
I do. These are from the top of my head. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
We've got Mandy Moore.
True.
Ray LaMontagne.
Okay.
Do you like him?
I know who he is. I play some of his music at weddings and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about Adam 22 from the No Jumper podcast?
I do know Adam 22. Yes, that's a cool one.
Mike O'Malley. Do you remember him?
What was
from
his
Global
show?
Guts?
Was his show Yes Dear? Was he on that?
I think so. And also he was the dad in Glee.
Oh, Kurt's dad.
He has a huge coming transformation.
He does. How did I forget Michael O'Malley's biggest, most monumental role, honestly?
Right? And I feel like I'm forgetting some. Oh, Hayley Smith Rose, maybe?
Yeah, I'm
You're a famous person. Not yet, but we'll see.
Oh, Becca, stop.
I'm not on the radio yet.
You sound great. You sound like a pro. Isn't John Mayer? He's not from there, but he had a situationship in Nashua, didn't he?
So that is a great story.
Okay.
I know this because I saw John Mayer in concert in 2006.
Okay.
Right around the time when we became friends. And he announced at this concert that he used to live in Nashua. I swear to you. And he wrote on Instagram, do you remember in 2021, he had that shout out to the Pheasant Lane Mall?
That's how I knew John Mayer had some type of Nashua connection, because you don't just know the Pheasant Lane Mall.
He went to Berkeley, which is in Boston.
Oh, sure, yep.
Berkeley College of Music. Mm-hmm. And I believe he commuted, or he must have, lived there after college.
Because it is just 40 minutes outside of Boston.
He's a hometown boy. So we love John Mayer. I shouldn't say that anymore. I used to love John Mayer back in like 06.
Shit.
But
okay.
Things have changed.
You know what? Time changes people.
After I read Jessica Simpson's memoir, I could not look at him the same.
Really? I love Jessica Simpson, so maybe I need to dive into that.
We're going to have to spill the tea later on.
Okay.
But there's a lot of other tea to spill. So, Hayley, are you excited for this reunion?
I actually am feeling excited for our high school reunion, but I think the more we discuss our lives in high school, I might feel differently, but I'm still willing to go down this rabbit hole with you.
Well, I feel the same way. I do want to remind you, I did not graduate from Nashua High School North with you. I was not a Titan all 4 years. I actually moved, so I don't even know if I'm allowed at this reunion.
We always just safely assume you did. Yes, that's an important thing I think we should cover is Becca went to my high school for exactly 1 year, our freshman year.
The best year of my life.
Really the best year, a year where we both peaked because we became friends. But you, nonetheless, remained so strong as a Titan. Like, you were just in all of our lives in the same way, so no one even noticed you left. No one's gonna bat an eye at the reunion. Didn't you go out of your way to take a night class at North?
Thank you for reminding me. I had to take a world studies class, and my high school that I moved to was only freshmen could take that. So I didn't want to be with freshmen
Naturally.
as a junior and decided to go to the Nashua night school instead, just so I could remain a Titan forever.
And forever you will be.
Forever.
So that's why you have to come with me. And I know of all people in my life, you're the most likely to have hoarded all of our artifacts from high school.
You know me so well.
You keep things like maybe a crazy person, but I love that about you.
Thanks, babe.
Yes.
I did bring some artifacts.
I knew you would.
I have a stack of paper here.
Okay.
And this is a little surprise that I wanted to present to you.
That's a thick stack. We're not talking like a baby stack.
Well, I had to unfold hundreds of notes. Like those little football folded notes we used to make.
Oh, yes.
I found a box of those when I was looking for the yearbooks. And I unfolded them all, and they're here.
Oh, my.
Genuinely hundreds of pages of paper in front of me that I just lugged up to Maine on the Amtrak to show you.
Wow. Okay. I'm sweating a bit. I knew that you would come through, and I wasn't wrong. So I'm very thrilled to go through this, but also scared.
The only thing is I couldn't find the yearbooks. Like our middle school yearbooks, our high school yearbook.
I think I have those at home somewhere.
God, okay.
So I'll dig for those. That can be my homework. You've clearly gone above and beyond with yours already. So let's start here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So 12 beautiful years ago, you and I met.
Actually, 16.
Is that true? Oh my God, yeah, we graduated 12 years ago. Jeez, I'm
Crap.
16 years ago.
I feel so old realizing that.
Oh, that's hurtful. Okay, so you know what? That was a good time in our lives. Let's not be upset about it. The best times. Although I will say I don't exactly know how we met in high school.
That's a really good question. And I know it must have been the first couple weeks because by September, we were fully BFFs, probably
Absolutely.
to an unhealthy extent since we had just met.
Yeah, definitely to a dangerous level, to something you'd be concerned about today, but it worked out for us.
It worked out. And we met, I believe, in school. I have to imagine. We did have a mutual friend from middle school, and I believe that person introduced us.
Oh, we shouldn't say names in this, huh?
Well, I definitely don't think we should say that person's name. And probably we can just change names for this show. Let's change names, identifying information.
Okay.
But you and I know who we'll be talking about. I mean, let's be real.
And they'll know.
They will know. And we will see them to make sure that they know.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah, so you know what I just realized? If we had a child when we graduated, they would be coming up on their freshman year.
That's gross. That's true.
They would be 12 turning 13.
That's where we're at. that might sound uncanny, but there were, God bless, girls in our grade that they have children that age now, and I hope they're doing well. I mean,
we
thriving.
grew up in the time of the teen pregnancy era.
We grew up when 16 and pregnant. I think we're actually the age of the first season of Girls, because I remember when that came out, I was like, I cannot imagine that.
Do you remember in Mass, like close to where we live, there was that pregnancy pact?
Wow, you just unlocked a
There was a Lifetime movie about it.
That's right. Wow. Massachusetts
was going hard.
What was
Even
that?
back in the day.
That was crazy. If someone listening doesn't know the story we're talking about, I actually barely remember it. I acted like I remember every excruciating detail.
I'm going to give you a full news report.
But from what I can recall, when we were about freshmen in high school, there were a group of girls in high school in Massachusetts who made a pact to all get pregnant together at the same time. Like an obscene amount of girls.
Raising their kids like at the same time.
I hope they're
going
doing
to
well.
high school. I do too. They probably have more kids.
It's safe to assume.
And I honestly feel like getting to 30 without a child is my own surviving teen pregnancy.
Yeah,
I survived my 20s as well, and I'm proud of myself.
It's for some people and it's not for others. And, for me, I'm not ready for that. But we digress. Becca, let's get back to the reunion.
I had a couple questions about this reunion I'm going to.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So, who is going to be there, Hayley?
Oh, I have absolutely no idea. But anything goes, because I do believe a lot of people from our high school still live in the hometown. Yeah. So,
or nearby.
It could be anybody. And I'm really scared. I was already scared to go through the yearbooks. Now I'm even more so scared to go through whatever you have there, because I think we'll remember people that are going to come back into our lives in a short period of time.
For sure. I mean, one thing I'm really grateful for is we dated so many of these notes that it was pretty easy for me to put them in a chronological order.
Oh.
And I did start scanning some of them so that you could read them.
I love you.
But then I realized I was coming up here, so I was like, let me just surprise you in person instead of sending you a Google Doc.
I love it. And we were those girls. Just to paint a picture, we were writing notes to each other multiple times a day.
Absolutely. We didn't have the same cell phone communication.
Right.
There was no service in the school.
Right.
And I had to pay 10 cents per message back in the day.
Same, yeah.
So our notes supplied so much of our information for that friendship to build. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness we have these.
And just to go off that for a second, I cannot stress how blessed I feel that social media didn't exist back then in the same way it does today, because we would not be well on the internet.
We would be really trying to become famous on TikTok.
We would be so troublesome on TikTok. Or we'd be TikTok famous as 14-year-olds.
Would be also troublesome. For many other ways.
Yes, that's troublesome in itself. That's really a gift it didn't exist, because like you said, we had to pay per text. I feel like if anyone under the age of 25 is listening, they're going to be like, huh? That was
Is that
even a thing?
Yeah. It was, and it was real. We also didn't have any sort of phones with cameras.
Right.
So you had your pink camera.
My digital camera. That thing, you know what? The flash was blinding, so every single picture that came out of it was just full of life.
Which is why we needed to be fake tan all the time to match our actual color when we use the flash.
I think I'm grown enough to confess that my skin tone was not okay in those days. Looking back at pictures, it's worrying.
It wasn't
how
just the
tan I
skin
was.
tone. It was our self hair dye nights.
Oh, dude, remember when you let me cut your braids?
This girl over here cut my bangs in the most jagged, straight across way. And it was not just regular bangs. They were side bangs.
Yes.
That never really grew out. And so it was just a clump of hair missing. I loved it. I rocked it.
What's wild is you actually did love it.
And also, it was the age of the bump, the hair bump.
It was.
Luckily, it was long enough that I basically just had a perfect level of just bump hair that I could pull up and just make my own little poof.
You're welcome. In fact,
I'm recreating it as I talk.
You
right
are. And if you want me to cut your bangs again before the reunion, all you have to do is ask.
And will you also dye that red coppery color I had at the time? Because it was my only time going red, and I don't know if I can again because there's some trauma there.
2006 was
times.
it was a time to be alive.
It really
and
was.
I feel sorry for those who were not around to experience it the way we were, because so much was going on in 2006, and it was really just a whirlwind for us to be at the perfect time. So here we are, 16 years later, about to be reunited with these people. What is the first artifact
These
you
people.
have to show me, Becca?
Well, I did some organizing just so we could have them in a semblance of order.
She's really going through a stack of papers right now.
It's a lot. I was thinking of just like handing you the first one that I found, dated for September 2006.
Right.
And if you wanted to like maybe give your impression.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what I gotta say about you, Becca, because I feel like people listening might not understand this, is this girl sitting in front of me has moved. How many times would you say you've moved since high school?
Oh my gosh, like literally 20.
20 times, and not even like close. Becca's
No.
lived in New York. She has lived in Boston. She has lived all over the Northeast.
All over the beautiful state of New Hampshire. Don't
And
forget.
Let's not forget that. But yet somehow all of these notes are kept so intact.
We've got to thank Cindy. Cindy, my mom, we're giving her a shout out.
Okay, she kept
Her
these for you.
She had a box in her closet full of skeletons.
Naturally.
Full of skeletons.
We love her.
We love
but
her. So
no.
she let me enter her closet with her permission and her guidance. And I found a tub of boxes, like not just one box, boxes on boxes of my old stuff. And I do feel like kind of one of those moments like in The Notebook, if we
my
can really throw
gosh.
it back to that era.
And we will.
Where I just wanted to keep every single piece of paper that we ever shared. Like I literally have every card, every photo, like,
does.
and this is only the stuff that I sorted from that box that like is related to like freshman year, us. Whereas
Okay.
there's still so much more weird stuff at home. Trust me.
Wow.
I found puppets. I found,
dear.
I used to build puppets. That's not weird at all.
That's for a different podcast. We'll dive into that and really unpack that.
Part 2, puppet making with Becca. I found so many newspaper articles. You know, my life as a high schooler was like writing for every publication that would allow me to.
You did have a phase where you loved to send in editorials to newspapers.
Like everywhere, like all over our area, I had these publications. So I have all of those saved. I brought them to my apartment in Boston, and the past week I've just been like sorting through, opening all these little notes, and
Cute.
it's awesome. I mean, I don't even know if I've read all of these, so I'm kind of excited to see what is in here. But there's a lot, and
Bless me.
I have questions for you.
Oh.
Because these are the notes that you wrote to me.
Oh, I wonder if I have the other side of it. Your notes to me.
A little bit less of a hoarder, Hayley, like
Right.
in a good way. That's a full
But
compliment.
with that being said, my mom is just as much of a hoarder, and as your mom clearly is as well. So I do wonder if maybe Doreen has kept some. We'll see.
Stay tuned. But yes, now that we're here, let me just hand you over the first note, to my knowledge, that Hayley Smith Rose ever wrote to me.
To my knowledge.
To my knowledge. And the reason I really think this is the first note is because it's the day that you gave me your AOL screen name.
Oh, that's such a good indicator of what was probably our first.
It really feels like it.
Wow.
So yeah, if you want to just pull this up.
I
and-
see it. Oh. You know, just overlooking this briefly, all I have to say is some things never change.
True.
You know? Why hasn't my handwriting gotten better?
I mean, mine is probably still, it is still the same. Like I'm looking at my handwriting now, and we were pretty much fully formed to the same people we are now by the age of 14.
That's so worrying.
It really is.
Okay.
Like, what did high school do? What did college do? It just broke
It
me.
it broke me, but then we continue to rise like the phoenix.
Yes. I love
At
that.
every turn.
Every turn.
Okay, do you want me to read this?
I think we just need, yes, absolutely.
My first note. Becca. Okay, this is the story. That's how I imagine I would have said you know?
Yes.
And naturally, for the sake of these, as we discussed, I'm going to go ahead and change the names.
Absolutely.
Because we don't need to drag anyone else down with us yet. All right. Jane was over my house, but she was in the other room when her boyfriend IM'd me. Oh, shit. Here we go.
Oh boy.
He was like, oh, well, I'm kind of thinking of breaking up with her because I don't really know her.
As you should.
You know what? Fair enough. Whoever I'm talking about. So I was like, oh, shit. Then Jane came back and I IM'd him and I was like, Jane breaks up with you. I think another important part I'd like to point out is how I spelled the word breaks, and it's not the way I wish I had spelled breaks. Brakes, Hayley, do better. Anywho, she was like, WTF, haha, it was pretty funny, but don't tell her about that story.
You were already keeping secrets.
Exactly. And this is why we cannot be using real names. Because I'm still not ready to give up all my secrets to these people. Well, I guess she's going to know. It doesn't matter. I digress. I have to give you my screen name. Titan Hun 21. That's cute. Nostalgia right there. I am me sometime, Miss Howard. Yell at Jane for not writing a note to me. Ha ha, I love you. Oprah and Libby are my idols. Cheetah, love Hayley. And this is actually my personal favorite part is P.S. The bitch is back.
Can we unpack what that means?
Let's unpack the bitch is back. I want it to mean like I'm back in some big way, but I don't think that's what I meant.
Right. And also you're already saying I love you to me, yet you don't even have my AOL screen name. Like I feel uncomfortable.
I feel
like love bombed.
I violated you a little bit with that, and I'm sorry now, 16 years later, because that's not right. That's not okay.
But I also see that we were already talking about Oprah and my sister Libby. So there's definitely some understanding of my passions, my family. Because if you know me at all, you know that I have had a long time obsession with Oprah.
Yeah, it's coming in a roller coaster form, I would say. And we'll get into that because I think we need to talk about Oprah, but all in due time. And I just don't need a cease and desist. So maybe we'll never talk about Oprah because she could shut us down so quick.
I mean, we're not going to reveal her secrets, but I will sing her praises forever. She changed my life. She made me want to be a journalist.
Oh my God, Becca.
Which I am not pursuing, except this.
Which I'm not. But that was why you were writing all those editorials and stuff back in that time. You were really into that.
I really connected with Oprah. Like,
you did.
She came from Hard Knocks, and yeah, she's a great person. Definitely questionable choices down the road, but we don't need to go into that.
That's not what this is all about. But I think Oprah is going to come up probably, I can assume, in these notes more. So we do need to just add in the love that we had for Oprah at the time and still continue to have at times.
At times,
you know? Okay. The drama that would occur just through AIM was astounding because, like you said, you had to be exclusive enough to have someone's screen name to IM them. It wasn't just like you could DM anyone on Instagram. Like you had to find this person. You had to set up your away message in a way that made you look cool and fun and different. You had to really just be active online to get those messages in. And that's something that today's teens will not get to experience, and that's a shame.
What about like the original emojis that were those girls that we used to use in our AOL?
The glitter dolls.
Yes.
Is that what they were called? I made that up completely.
Let me Google glitter dolls and see what comes up.
That could be, I don't know if you want to Google that.
Glitter dolls.
I don't know what could come up for that. Good call. Okay. That's not my business. If you know, you know. If you were on MySpace, you know those little dolls that looked a little too scandalous for cartoons. Let's just call it what it is. But we loved them and we dressed up our MySpaces with them and we'd do it again in a heartbeat if it existed.
So while I was getting ready for this big reveal of all these notes, I was thinking of my MySpace and how we lived for MySpace. And when I logged in recently, I was really upset. It's completely gone, Hayley.
That's hurtful. And honestly, I feel like we have the right to sue.
Yeah, like they didn't warn anyone. Apparently, there was a big wash of data in 2020. And
really?
Yeah. So There's nothing left. Nothing. You can still see people's profile picture and some people's top 8, which is hilarious.
Yo, not the top
but
8.
No posts, no photos, no videos. All of the great content we collected over years and years, it's not there.
And that's why it's such a gift that you've kept this. And let that be a lesson to everyone listening. You never know when your social media will just disappear. I know it might sound crazy, but MySpace meant a lot to us, okay?
Yes.
This could happen to TikTok or Instagram or whatever you freaking use. Twitter.
Be real.
Be real. I'm not on that. I don't need people to know where the heck I am at all moments in time.
And sorry that I do want to check how I look before I take a selfie.
Excuse me, I want to present my best self to the world.
Forgive me for not wanting to have my eyelashes all out of place or my hair crazy. Like, come on.
Like,
anyway,
what does that make me? Okay, I digress. But back up your stuff, or like, if you have stuff like pictures that you really want to keep, don't just trust social media, because just like MySpace, anything could disappear in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, weren't they saying that TikTok was gonna go away like 2 years ago? They just
they were trying to. Yeah, there was a whole thing with TikTok, but like realistically, like if it could happen to MySpace, it could happen to anyone. No one's safe.
We took MySpace for granted.
We did take that for granted. So don't
be like us.
Don't do that. But the hours that we would spend together, I remember Friday nights, we'd get home from school, then just sit in the computer room, and we would be writing HTML code. We would be
downloading Limewire constantly.
Oh, absolutely.
Overnight, we would not sleep. We would
viruses on viruses.
Really intense, like hardcore porn, just download it on your desk.
Like, actually, though, sorry, Dad. I love you.
I definitely saw a lot in that room that I had never seen before on the internet.
LimeWire, in many ways, took my innocence, and I feel upset about it.
We could sue.
I wish LimeWire still
damages
existed, though.
For trauma and damages.
Yo, what a time. The intros that would be on some of the songs on LimeWire, I would think, even to this adult life, I have that in my head when I hear certain songs.
Especially when they were like really tinny sounding and horrible quality, and yet we were like jamming out. And I still have CDs, and I know you do too.
Yes.
The mixtapes we used to make.
Dude, you know what would be so fun is we should make a playlist for the podcast with all of those songs and share it with our listeners.
Like bring our mixtapes to Spotify, like bring them to life.
Oh, we'll do that.
Oh my gosh.
We can put some of our like old MySpace songs on there.
Slide alongside.
Iconic.
That was actually might have been our first bonding experience, was like learning about Shifty, which is the most random. Let's go back to 2006. Shifty is on the radio. The song Butterfly is a hit.
Oh yeah.
Come my lady.
You're my butterfly. So was he part of the group that did that song?
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe that group, I can look it up, but he was the singer and his name was Shifty.
Naturally.
And of course, and you and I somehow, like during our first hangouts, found this song called Slide Alongside, and it became like our anthem to this day.
And to, our defense, it's a very positive, fun song. Like, I'm glad if we had an anthem, it could have been so much worse.
Absolutely.
This song was very sweet and wholesome, if you really think about it.
It was. And we did have a lot of other really uncomfortable anthems looking back. So this one, it's a beautiful song.
This is a beautiful song. So look that up for
Shifty is from Crazy Town. And
Crazy Town.
That was like a big band back in the day. I mean, they were huge. So
absolutely.
Back in the day. But AOL is probably how we bonded, because I feel like after this note, we probably had our first real hangout, because I don't think we had like hung out at this point.
So just to unpack the memories coming from this letter.
Yes.
We need to go back to the letter. What happened, from my recollection, is our friend Jane, her boyfriend at the time, why did they start dating? They didn't even like know each other. Why did he feel the need to message me saying that he was going to break up with her?
I think he wanted to give you a heads up. I don't know. I'm really trying to like analyze this.
I was too involved in the relationship, and I can tell just from the snow. I was overstepping.
Do you remember there was like a kiss situation at the football game with this couple? Do you remember?
Wait, bring it back to my memory.
It was like they met at the football game, and I'm pretty sure they left the game together. And now I'm giving people's like dirtiest secrets away. So I really, maybe we should.
I mean, nothing actually scandalous happened. I feel like it's not like they had sex.
People did have sex at those games.
Yes, but not this couple that we're referring to.
I think we can both think of.
Do you remember that? Okay, we need to just clarify it's neither of us, because the way you said that made it so suspicious.
I've never had sex at a North football game.
And nor would anyone. Okay, now that you say the person you just said to me off mic, I know what you're talking about, but like, I think we need to make it abundantly clear we were not those teens. Like, we were good girls.
We were obsessed with the Cheetah Girls. We were obsessed with High School Musical.
Like, we liked to think we were weird. Like, we liked to think we were tough and cool and these bad bitches, but we were just weird girls who really loved the Cheetah Girls.
We were like ADHD crazy girls.
Absolutely.
Without meds, and still to this day without meds.
At least now we're at an age where we can translate that energy into something productive.
Yes.
And I think it was all meant to be. So it's fine. But I don't want anyone to get the idea that we were cooler than we were. Because like we were not the girls having sex at high school football games.
And that did make you cool back in the day.
And at that time, honestly, that was a cool thing to do. So Jane wasn't doing that.
Jane was like having a relationship. She wanted a relationship, and this guy was not there. He was just not mature.
So they kissed at the game? Is that what you're saying? What occurred at the game? I still don't know.
It was either he asked her out, and that was when they started dating, or he kissed her. I don't remember.
And then broke up. I mean, if they broke up in September of 2006, that couldn't have been much long after that occurred.
It wasn't. It was a very quick relationship. The turnaround was insanely quick.
And so to this day, does she... I don't think she'd care anymore, but she doesn't realize that he was going to break up with her first. She still probably thinks that she broke up with this person.
She thinks that you broke up with him.
Technically, yeah. And like, why was that okay for her?
I mean, we were all just trying to figure out this thing called life, this thing called adulthood.
True, and we still are.
When I was coming up here today, taking my little sweet time on the Amtrak, I was thinking about how middle school is really just like a preparation for how freaking difficult high school is. It's like the pre-games where you're learning how to put mascara on and how to not cry in school and how to, you know, wear outfits every day that don't make you look weird. So then you get to high school and you're like, I've got this. And you don't have this.
No.
Because now you're working with 18-year-olds who are walking the same halls as you as a 14-year-old.
But what I will say about us is, nonetheless, we held the confidence like we had it.
We really did.
There was no point in high school that we didn't think we were the coolest people there.
Endless confidence.
Obviously, we can look back and see the truth. But yeah, at the time,
I walked down those halls thinking I owned the place.
Absolutely.
Even though it was a big school, pretty intimidating. But once I met you, I was like, we're good.
Unstoppable. Unflappable.
Unstoppable.
Better unfabulous. Okay. I'm sorry.
Throwback.
Becca, we have so much to go through that I don't think we're going to be able to fit this in this session. So
I don't think so.
Let's take a dive in and really unpack some more goodies another time. I have a lot to digest, I feel.
Yeah, we need to process this. One letter has done this much unearthing. Imagine once we really scratch the surface.
All I have to say is P.S. The bitch is back.
And with that, until next time.
If you like what you hear, make sure you follow us on all social media. Becca, tell them where they can find us.
Our Instagram handle is Fever Dream Diaries. Our TikTok is Fever Dream Diaries Pod. And if you want to email us, you can always send us a message at feverdreamdiaries@gmail.com.
Send us all your deepest, darkest secrets. We would love to read them. We would love to connect with you on that spiritual level. And also on our social media, we're going to be posting all sorts of content relating to the episodes. See old embarrassing photos of us. See relics from the past that will bring you back to a simpler time. Right.
A time before TikTok. A time before Instagram.
Exactly.
When MySpace ruled the world.
Oh my God, a time we all yearn for. So be sure to follow us. And if you really like what you hear, leave us a freaking review somewhere, would ya?
Hell yeah. And maybe a comment, maybe like.
Yeah, if you think that someone else in this world would like this podcast, you show us some love so it can get spread to them. Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you're listening to podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. We won't be able to sleep well tonight otherwise.
Please.
We need this.